Welcome back and congratulations. You've now finished your Eagle project. You've held your event or you've delivered your project to the beneficiary. Now you're going to finish the service project report. Before you do this, you need to turn in your hours of volunteers as soon as your project is done. There are a lot of scouts who need those hours for rank advancements, and they really don't have time to wait until you turn in the project report. This may take you a month or two to finish, but those hours are critical, so please turn those in. I believe there's a link to the spreadsheet on the Life to Eagle on Troop web host, and if you don't, talk to your Life to Eagle advisor and they will provide you with the spreadsheet to fill in. Now that you're here, let's continue. We're going to start, fill in the project start date, fill in the project completion date. Simple. Once planning was completed, when did the work begin? When did you finish the project? When did you turn it over and get the beneficiary to sign off? Okay, now please provide a description of your project and the impact it will have. So my project was to build a gazebo, and it will leave a lasting impression on this organization, what your beneficiary was and what it did. This is just taking a lot of what it was out of the project proposal. What did you do after your proposal was approved to complete the project? The planning. So what did you do? I started making diagrams. I started recruiting volunteers. I started purchasing materials. I started coordinating with the ASPLS service. Give some highlights of what did you do. Now what went well. Okay, and this isn't just one thing. This isn't just my bench looked good. This is what went well. So the weather was good and we had a good work day. The project was constructed and met all my quality control, or I had a food drive and we raised more food than I thought. Nobody was injured. It was a safe project. I learned a lot. What went well? What was challenging? There's always challenges. The weather was bad, or I bought the wrong screws, or the wood cracked and I had to drill pilot holes, or after building we realized I had the wrong color stain and that was a challenge. And then how did you deal with the challenge? Don't just say, you know, I had the wrong screws. I had the wrong screws and therefore we had to change how we cut the material, or I had to run and buy new screws. Again, be descriptive. What changes were there in your project? So you might have said, gee, through the planning I realized that I needed a support brace that I didn't have before, so I made support braces. Or I changed the color because the beneficiary wanted me to have, instead of brown, wanted green. So again, what were the changes you did? What ways did you demonstrate leadership? I'm going to tell you right here. There are 4 questions, and there's a reason there's 4. The purpose of your Eagle project is to demonstrate leadership, and you're going to get asked a lot of these questions in your Eagle Scoutmaster Conference and your Eagle Board of Review. So be detailed in here because these questions are going to come to you again later on. What ways did you demonstrate leadership? How did you lead this project? I built diagrams. I coordinated and had team leaders. I held team leaders briefing sessions. What was difficult about being the leader? It was hard being a leader and giving instructions versus just taking over and doing it myself. Or I had to ask adults to step back because my dad wanted to always take over, so I had to make sure and reinforce I was the leader. So those are things about being difficulty. What was rewarding? How did you feel about being a leader? Seeing your project being built and being done to your quality standards. What was being rewarded, and what did you learn about leadership? And how were your leadership skills developed? What did you learn that about being this leader? Because these are coming at you again. Materials, were there any significant shortages or overages? So this is, I had no materials left over, or I had some materials left over and I returned them to the store, or I donated them. What did you do with the leftover materials? Down here, your hours. So again, your Eagle Scout planning hours. This is going from day 1 when you held your very first meeting with your Life to Eagle advisor, you met with your beneficiary. How many hours did you total work? Keep a diary of your hours. This is what you're planning, and this is what was in the execution. The rest are pretty self-explanatory, but the one I will caution you on is registered BSA, this one, hours. How many helped? Remember, you had meetings with Life to Eagle advisors, you had meetings with a Scoutmaster, you had meetings with your other district advisor. Those are all hours, and they were all BSA adults that volunteered on your project from the day it started. Remember to include those in your hours. Describe how you obtain money and materials, supplies. So you could put in here, I used personal donations, or sorry, my personal funds. I had donations from the beneficiary, or I did fundraising. How much was collected? So again, if you used personal funds and your project was $1,000, you would put, I collected $1,000 and I spent $1,000. If you had fundraising, you might have collected $1,500 and only spent $1,000. And here you would say, I had money left over. Or if you needed more money and you didn't raise enough, what happened? How did the excess expenses, how did you pay for things that you didn't have? Again, if you're paying for things personally, you didn't have anything left over and you wouldn't have had nothing over excess. You just paid for everything, and these two numbers here would just be the same. How were donors thanked? This may not just be donors of money, this could be donors of a facility, donors of tools that lent you tools, a church that let you use their facility. So anyway, did you send them an email? Did you verbally thank them? Those are there. Then sign it, get the beneficiary to sign it, and you are more or less done. Now I will tell you, this last box is where the Scoutmaster signs off. Do not get to signatures yet until the Life to Eagle advisor has reviewed this with you and says it is ready to be submitted. Then you can go get the Scoutmaster to sign. Work with your Life to Eagle advisor on getting the Scoutmaster to sign. Sometimes it's as simple as putting it in your Eagle binder, and we'll talk about that. And the Scoutmaster will just sign it during your Scoutmaster conference. You don't have to have a separate meeting with the Scoutmaster. You can include it while you're sitting down at the Scoutmaster conference. They can sign this as well. During your Scoutmaster conference, a lot of the stuff that you did in this project is going to be discussed. So the better the answers you are in this report, the better you will be prepared for your Scoutmaster conference.